I don't want to call this person a Karen. This is a person that went on a Disney Cruise Line sailing not knowing what to expect. So what we're trying to do here is address each one of her complaints. We even have a few tips and tricks to deal with some of the situations that she found herself in so that you don't have to deal with the same situations.
All right, Anna, her first issue has to do with something that never occurs at a Disney park, because this was her first Disney cruise, and that was lines. Have you heard of such a thing?
I've heard of them. I'm not going to lie. There are lines. And it doesn't matter whether it's a Disney cruise or any cruise. There are going to be lines. So the very first line she encountered was at the terminal. And this is not Disney's fault. It is not her fault. Here's how you get around lines at the terminal. You call every other passenger on that cruise ship and you tell them they cannot come to that port until their port arrival time. Now, what is a port arrival time? When you check in for your cruise, you're going to have an opportunity to choose the time you want to go to the port. Stick to that time, because if you don't stick to that time and you show up early, which a lot of cruisers do, you end up causing a backlog of people. The guest services people can only handle so many people at a time, so the line gets longer and longer. We have stood in line at a cruise port for upwards of an hour waiting to board a ship. So assuming you can't call all of your fellow passengers on your cruise ship, the one thing you can do that might help you avoid the lines is just go later. Choose a port arrival time.
Don't miss your cruise time.
Yeah,
we're not saying that late.
Don't miss your cruise time. But you can choose a port arrival time that's later in the day, 12:30, 1 o'clock. Don't forget you're going to want to be at the terminal and all checked in at least 2 hours before your ship sails away. But definitely if you go a little bit after the lunch rush, you should be fine.
So her next complaint is the lines after she gets on board the ship. So she goes up the gangway, they take the announcements, and she heads for the elevators. And there's her first complaint. How do you have a complaint about elevators?
Yeah, you have 3,000 to 7,000 people all trying to use a limited number of elevators. There are a couple things that you can do. First of all, if you can use the stairs, just use the stairs. Now, I don't recommend it for somebody that has a stroller like she does.
Or other mobility issues, wheelchair, cane, anything.
You know what? If you're just a fat ass like me, I can go down the stairs. I'm not climbing up the stairs. I'll wait for the elevator. But the other thing you can do is don't use the most popular bank of elevators. On embarkation day, everybody gets on the ship in the same place. They're all going to use that same, usually midship bank of elevators. Jim likes to point out, if you're coming out of the theater...
If you're there to watch the Golden Mickeys and you come out of the theater and there's the forward elevators with a huge crowd, just keep walking on back.
Yeah, go to another bank of elevators.
You pass the coffee shop, you pass the souvenir shops, you pass, if you're a different cruise line than Disney, a casino, you pass the bars. There's all sorts of things that might distract you and let you get to the elevator later, but why stand in line? You're on a cruise. Take a walk around. Have a good time.
Yeah. My other biggest tip is the elevator only goes in 2 directions. It goes up and it goes down. If you want to go up, but a down moving elevator has space for you, just get on that elevator, especially if you have a toddler in a stroller or somebody with a wheelchair or a scooter, because you could stand there and wait long for an elevator going in the right direction to have space.
And that's more time for elevator karaoke.
Yeah, so just get on the elevator no matter which direction it's going. It will eventually go the direction you want it to go.
Okay, here's where things get a little weirder. Now she's up on deck, and her next complaint was there was a line at the pool. This wasn't a Congo line. It wasn't a Soul Train party line. It was just a line for people to get in the pool.
Yeah,
I've never seen this.
I don't know that she meant the pool specifically, because I've never seen a line of people waiting to get in the pool. But will there be lines for things like the Aqueduct, the Aqua Mouse, or any of the water slides on your cruise ship? Yes, there will be.
So people take the elevator, they get out on deck, and they make a rookie move. They head right for the food. You just had breakfast a few minutes ago. Under your clothes or in the bags that you carried on board, not your check bags, bathing suits. Head right for the pool, Aqua Mouse, Aqueduct, slides, whatever it's called. Go do those activities. Then, when the other people are done eating, you saunter into the dining room.
Yeah, some of the lowest lines for the water slides or other activities out on the pool deck will be on embarkation day as people are boarding the ship. Most people do make a beeline to go and get something to eat. You make a beeline for the pool. The other time that you can get a little bit less of a crowd around the pool and on the water slides is on port days. When other people are getting off to do excursions or go shop or do something, you head to the pool and to the water slides. There will usually be much less people there on port days.
Related to that, her other complaint was the line at the buffet. Now, we just told you go to the rides, the amusements, explore the ship. There's things to do. Why stand in line? But here's another little tip that a lot of people don't know. When you walk into the buffet, just walk around and go to the next station down the line. You don't have to stand there at the first station. Explore.
You could try that. I'm going to be honest with you. The buffet is going to be chaotic. It's always going to be chaotic, especially on embarkation day, especially if you have a sea day. The buffet is going to be a madhouse.
I mean, we've been Sundays on Mother's Day on one of the largest ships in the world. We know buffet lines.
It's crazy. It's going to be crazy. So here's the way to get around that. Just go eat somewhere else. Again, on embarkation day, don't beeline for the buffet. Go to the pool, eat a little bit later. Don't go to the buffet at peak times. Don't go right at noon or right at 9 a.m. for breakfast. Go a little bit earlier or a little bit later. The other thing you can do, most cruise ships, especially Disney, on embarkation day, there will be a sit-down lunch option. There will be a sit-down breakfast option. Even on sea days, almost every cruise ship is going to have a sit-down breakfast and lunch option. So just avoid the buffet altogether and go have a nice leisurely paced breakfast or lunch.
This is my big one. If there is a sit-down lunch option available on embarkation day, I cannot recommend that enough. Guaranteed table, chance to meet some of the wait staff. There might be somebody coming around doing promo items. It's way more relaxed. You don't have to look and hunt for a table. There's no fighting with other grandmothers who are holding them. It's way better.
That happens.
As if the lines at the buffet weren't enough, she also complained about the lines going to the main dining room, which is confounding to me because Disney has dining room rotation. You know what time you're at first or second seating, and you just go there. So they break up the crowds across the restaurants.
But here's the problem, and again, this is your fellow cruisers that are screwing you up here. If you have a dining time of 6 o'clock, I promise you, people are going to start lining up in front of the dining room at 5:30, 5:40. So by the time you walk up at 5 minutes to 6, which sounds like a good time, the line is going to be outrageous because the doors are not open and there's a crowd of people. Don't go on time. I don't want you to go really late because now you're going to be
fashionably late.
Yeah, you're going to be causing problems if you go too late. But if you just go 4 or 5 minutes later to the dining room than your dining time, the doors will be open. Everybody that's been waiting a half an hour will be seated and well on their way to ordering their first cocktail. And now you can just walk right in and go to your table.
Our mouse complainer had issues with food. Now, which meal did they have a problem with? Breakfast, lunch, and other meals. So let's take them in order. Her first complaint with breakfast was, it's a Disney cruise and they didn't bring me 2 trolleys and a singing candelabra chandelier stuff to sing me this massive breakfast.
This is where expectations, I think, got a little away from her. So her expectation on her cruise was she would have unlimited food all day, all night, anything she wanted, she would be able to get. That's not a reality on any cruise ship. It's not possible for them to just bring you round the clock lobster tails, round the clock Mickey bars, round the clock Mickey waffles. There are definitely sort of set times for there to be food. Breakfast in the buffet and in the dining room, there will be breakfast foods. At lunch, there will be lunch foods. So her big complaint about the breakfast was that it was a continental breakfast. Now, most cruise ships have round-the-clock room service. It's not free on every cruise ship, but it is free on Disney. But breakfast is limited to continental breakfast. So if you have a family that maybe you don't eat a lot of carbs for breakfast, you're watching gluten, or for whatever reason continental breakfast is not your thing, there's a solution to that.
You order off the secret menu. And the secret menu is, she tells me what to go get, and I take a walk. And then I walk back with the stuff she told me to get.
Yeah, if you have more than one adult in the stateroom, and the big reason for ordering room service is to just get everybody kind of going in the morning, let the other grown-up go and get your hot food items, your Mickey waffles, your scrambled eggs, your breakfast meats. Go ahead and get the kids some cereal and milk just so that they can start the process of getting ready in the morning. but you might have the option for somebody to go and get the hot foods that you want.
This is why you paid extra for that veranda, so you could sit out there and have your breakfast and watch the ocean sail by.
The other thing is, if you wanted to avoid the chaos in the buffet, go to the dining room. So that's another way around having just continental breakfast available.
Her next complaint about food had to do with lunch. Lunch? How's lunch a problem? Here's the scenario. The ship docked somewhere, and she got off for an excursion. They didn't hand her a brown bag, and they didn't have a food truck drive behind the bus.
So when you pay for a cruise, most cruise lines include all of your meals, your snacks, beverages. You pretty much expect there to be food all the time. And there is food all the time. However, her expectation was if she left the ship, there would be food following her. She didn't know that if you were off the ship at lunchtime, you missed lunch in the dining room or at the buffet. The cruise line cannot brown bag lunches for everybody. First of all, there are agricultural regulations that prohibit you from taking certain things off of the ship. So that could not be in a brown bag lunch. The other thing is some excursions are all about the food. So you're going to go on an excursion that includes your lunch or your breakfast or some kind of snack.
Always read that description though, because not every excursion does that. They might just drop you off in town for you to explore. That means get your own lunch.
Yeah. This again though goes back to the availability of food on a cruise ship. Now it's not unlimited food. You can't come back from your excursion at 2:00 and get a lobster tail. But even if the dining room is closed or the buffet is closed for lunch, every cruise ship has pizza, burgers, hot dogs, salads, sandwiches. You can find food somewhere. And again, room service, especially on Disney, is always an option.
This next food complaint was a little strange because having 3 children and 3 grandchildren, her complaint was food wasn't available at snack time. And I was like, snack time? When is that?
All the time.
Yeah, it's just, you plan for it. You're the adult/parent. Apparently her expectation was at her specific child's snack time, which is that reasonable?
It's not reasonable because, again, your child's snack time might be different from her. So how can they have a snack available if your child snacks at 11 and a snack available for her child who snacks at 2? But again, the availability of food is pretty much around the clock on a cruise ship. But if there are specific things that your child will eat for a snack and you see them on the buffet at breakfast time, just snag them. Snag an extra banana or a cup of yogurt or a box of cereal. Whatever your kid will snack on at 10:30 or 11 o'clock when the buffet breakfast is over, just bring it back to your stateroom for later. But also, if you have a kid whose snack time needs are very specific, like the puffed snacks that in the Gerber bags or the baby food aisle, your cruise ship is not going to have that available. So just pack them in your bag and bring them with you.
This last food complaint was very shocking for me. Apparently, she went to Castaway Cay, a place we've been going to since it opened, and everything was covered in coleslaw. Now, I'm aware of Cookies 2, the adult beach restaurant. I'm not aware of the coleslaw restaurant. What is this?
The only thing I can think that happened on her day is there was some kind of kitchen tornado that whipped up the entire bowl of coleslaw and flung it everywhere because her complaint was every single item on the buffet had coleslaw on it. So the first thing I'm going to say, specific to Castaway Cay, is the coleslaw is in a separate bowl, and as you move your way through the buffet line, help yourself. You can put the coleslaw on whatever you want, but it's in this container. But if you are on any cruise line's private island and you go and they have pre-made burgers with all the fixings already on top of it, or pre-made hot dogs.
That's just to push the line through. Place your order.
Yeah, that's helping the line move through. But if you don't eat those things and you just want a plain burger, just ask. They'll get you one. They'll get you a plain hot dog, a plain chicken sandwich, whatever they have. They'll get it for you plain. So I want you to rest assured there is not coleslaw flung liberally across everything on the Castaway Cay buffets. You can get something plain if you want it plain.
All right, friends, are you sitting down? You're going to have to sit down for this one. This complaint was about something related to food, food and water. She's on a cruise ship in the middle of the ocean, and her complaint was no one told her she could get water for free.
Yeah, so I want to be that advertisement for you. I want you to know that if you are on a cruise ship, you can get water. Don't worry about it. But you know what? This is kind of a legitimate thing. When you get on a cruise ship, they have bottled water, and bottled water costs extra. But you don't have to pay for the bottled water. She did not know that. Now, on a Disney cruise, it should have been pretty obvious because the pool deck and the buffet have serve yourself drink stations where they have ice and water. So she could have gone and gotten water any time of the day or night that she wanted just by walking up to these self-serve machines. But if you don't see a self-serve machine, most cruise lines now have water refill stations. If you bring your own Stanley Cup or your own Yeti, you can go to any bar or lounge and just ask for a glass of ice water. If you're in one of the buffets or restaurants, just ask someone. They will bring you a glass of water. Is it advertised that you can get free water? It's not advertised anywhere, but I want you to know you can get water on a cruise ship.
Pro tip, actually 2 of them. The first one, when you place your room service order, if you're a big water drinker or you like ice with your drinks, ask them to bring you a carafe of ice or a carafe of ice water. And when you fill it up, refill it from the spigot in the bathroom. Okay. Number 2, that's actually a half a bonus tip there. And then the second one, speak to your friendly room attendant. Ask them if they can bring you one of those containers of ice. Then you can add it to your drinks to keep them cool as you choose.
We call them ice buckets, not containers. But yeah, just ask them for...
I'm sorry.
Just ask them for an ice bucket. They'll bring you an ice bucket. You can just fill the cup at the sink.
Next complaint has to do with entertainment, which is kind of shocking because Disney is a global enterprise known for its entertainment. I mean, maybe the Golden Mickeys isn't for her, but we've gone to them for many, many decades now. And I'm always shocked that Mickey wins the Golden Mickey for Best Actor. It's always a shock to me. But you know what? You clap and the kids clap with you.
Should we have said spoiler alert?
I'm sorry. Spoiler alert.
Her complaint was that she did not like the entertainment on board, specifically the theater shows. And I'm going to tell you, if you're not a theater person, you're not going to enjoy the shows. So why put yourself through that torture? The one thing I will complain about the theaters on a Disney cruise ship, because I've not had this experience on any other cruise ship. As I mentioned previously, I'm a bit of a fat ass. And the theater seats on a Disney cruise ship are a little bit tight. They're uncomfortable. So that might be something to take into consideration before you go to the shows. You can slide back in them and slide out of them, but they are a little bit on the tight side. But if you don't like musical theater, don't go to the musical theater show. On board your cruise ship, you are going to find lounge singing, trivia games, game shows, bingo.
They're Disney cruise ships. There might be 1 or 2 theaters playing movies all day.
Yeah, you will find other entertainment. So don't subject yourself to the kind of entertainment you don't like. Just go find something else.
So these next complaints fall under the category of entertainment, but specifically one night on Disney cruises, Pirate Night. So the first complaint was, Pirate Night is too risque?
Yeah, she did not like the music or the dancing or the costumes of the pirates participating in the pirate show. Now, I'm going to tell you this because there are some people that don't allow their children to listen to popular music. The songs that you hear on Disney do go beyond It's a Small World. You're going to hear music from all different veins of entertainment. But for the most part, the pirate party has pop music. It's not anything that you wouldn't have heard on Hannah Montana or some other Disney Channel show. It's family-friendly music.
Well, I think that was a good time to remind that I wish this person had been using somebody like Anna, because Anna explains to clients that Pirate Night isn't one thing. It's getting dressed up, it's doing pictures, it's going to dinner like a pirate, it's seeing the cast members dressed up. It's also the party, and it's also something else that she had a complaint about, the pirate fireworks.
Yeah, so if you're a family that doesn't like popular music or prefer that your children don't listen to popular music, you don't have to go to the pirate party, but still participate in the pirate activities, get dressed up and do everything else. Now, when it comes to the fireworks, there are 2 things to remember. They cannot do the fireworks until it's dark. That's the big thing.
So that was a given.
Yeah. The second thing is they cannot do the fireworks until everybody is finished dinner, because the people that go in for the second seating are usually going in when it's still too light out for there to be a fireworks display. So they want to get those people in, let them have their dinner, and then get out in time to come up for the show. So the fireworks show generally takes place around 10 or 10:15.
Most importantly, though, and this is the big number 3 on this, it's got to be safe.
Yeah, you might be in a situation where it's windy or raining or something is going on and the captain decides it's not a good time to start the fireworks. Now, they could be just delayed for a few minutes. They could be canceled altogether. You don't know. But there are things that might impact whether or not that 10 o'clock fireworks start actually happens. Our grandchildren have been on multiple Disney cruises. They still haven't seen the fireworks because they're all under the age of 7, and most of the time they're in bed by 8:30, 9 o'clock.
Wait. We've all seen your video about being on a Disney ship during a hurricane. Were there fireworks during the hurricane?
Actually, there were. We sailed away enough that we could do fireworks. But yeah, your kids might miss the fireworks on this cruise. If you want them to stay up later, have them take a nice nap in the afternoon, have the nap time skewed a little bit later so that they're more refreshed to stay up till 10 o'clock, or just plan to come back. I know it's expensive, and maybe this was a one and done for you, but when you get there and you see all there is to see and do, you're going to want to start saving. So just know that you don't have to live or die by that fireworks time.
This next batch of complaints came from the mom, but it sounds like the 2-year-old was telling her what to type. The 2-year-old was unhappy with the splash pad area because apparently it was both too small and closed. Maybe mom just didn't know the phrase undercommit and over-deliver, but, ship happens, kids have swim diapers, it's a Disney cruise. Thank you, cast and crew, for closing the splash pad.
Yeah, for those not familiar, if your child is not potty trained, they cannot go into the main pools. So a lot of cruise ships have splash areas, and you can put your kid in a swim diaper, they can go to the little splash area, and it's fun. Now, are they too small? For the most part, they're not. But there are a lot of kids on a Disney cruise ship, so maybe she did feel like it was a little too tight. But her big complaint was that it was closed very frequently because it had to be cleaned and sanitized. Now, this happens when somebody maybe doesn't put a swim diaper on their child, or somebody who is potty trained gets a little too excited to remember that they need to go to the bathroom, and as Jim said, ship happens. At that point, they do close the splash area for somebody to clean and sanitize the messed area.
The right way. They don't come in with a napkin and go, okay, hop back in.
No. I personally want them to clean and sanitize. I do not want my grandchildren running around, especially, God forbid, barefoot through someone else's stuff. But that's something that your cruise ship can't control. The cruise line can't control it. The lifeguards can't control it. It just has to be done. You don't always immediately have somebody there that can scrub and sanitize the whole area. So it might take a little bit of time for the thing to be closed, properly cleaned, and then reopened. But if you haven't promised your kid they're going to the splash pad, you're not going to have the meltdown that ensues. Of course, put your kid in a bathing suit. Just tell them that you're going out on the deck. And if you walk by the splash pad and it's closed, just go get them an ice cream, or go get them a snack, or go play a game.
You got a ship, explore, have fun.
Yeah.
The next meltdown, to use Anna's word, apparently occurred on Castaway Cay. There was an overcommitment that there was going to be a certain type of toy, some sands bucket thing from Lightning McQueen, and it wasn't there. I don't know. I've never seen one. But apparently, again, overcommitted and underdelivered, and now someone's upset.
Yeah, so apparently they walked into a gift shop and she had told her child that there was a Cars-themed sand bucket available for the kid to play with on the beach. And as they were walking into the store, another child was walking out with the last one. So when they actually got up there were no more available. I cannot emphasize this enough, and this is just a general tip traveling with children. It doesn't matter where you're going, what type of vacation it is. Do not promise your children things that you do not have 100% control over. They will get disappointed, and the younger they are, the harder it is to get them over the disappointment because they don't understand. Mom has told them that they're going to get this certain toy or have this certain snack or meet this certain character. And if it doesn't happen, that could become an overarching detriment to their entire vacation. And, all kids are different, especially if you have a neurodivergent kid that hones in on one thing. If you've told them they're going to have that one thing and it doesn't happen, that can ruin the vacation for the entire family. So as Jim says, always, always under promise and over deliver.
We saved this last section to the end because really the title is money. And we don't want to make pass judgment on anybody, what your money is, what your choice of cruising is, because, I mean, even luxury travels, everybody's definition is different. This person's expectation was that her husband, and the 2-year-old, this would be a great way and an inexpensive way to show her toddler the world. Cruising is a wonderful way to travel. It has huge benefits.
Especially with children.
Yeah.
It's one hotel, it's one unpacking, and you get to see multiple destinations.
You could be on a cruise that does multiple stops. You get to go to different cities, different tours, excursions, but you have to read your cruise contract. You have to talk to your travel agent. Do your research, because you might be paying for those excursions. There might be other extras involved.
And that was one of her biggest complaints, is that there were a lot of unexpected expenses. And that again goes to her lack of understanding about a cruise. Now, your cruise fare covers a lot of stuff. And there are some cruise lines where your cruise fare may cover things like port excursions or alcoholic beverages. But for the most part, you are going to encounter extra fees when you cruise. Most cruise lines do not include alcoholic beverages. You're going to pay for them, or you're going to buy a beverage package. Cruise lines do not include gratuities most of the time. Virgin, not talking to you. But you're going to, at some point, either have to prepay your gratuities or pay them once you're on board. Things like drink tasting, mixology classes, any kind of class that involves materials that you consume.
And his favorite, couples massage.
Yeah, spa thing. Those are all going to be extra fees. And port adventures can be a big expense, especially if you're doing a sailing like Alaska, where the port adventures are more expensive. Or you're going to Europe.
Let's take a 14-day cruise to Europe where you're stopping in 12 different cities.
Yeah, you want to see something at all the different ports. It could be more expensive to do the excursions than it is to pay for your cruise. So just know going in that there are going to be additional expenses above and beyond your room and board.
Anna, did we cover all of the issues? Have you turned them back into something magical and informed everybody?
I think we've given pretty good tips, but as always, if you have any questions about cruising or vacationing in general, just drop them in the comments below. I'm happy to answer them. If you need help to plan a cruise or a vacation, Anna@wavesandwandering.com. I'm very happy to help you go in the right direction and go prepared and not have some of these disappointments that this woman had. If you like our content, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. We really, really appreciate it. And we've got some great things coming down the pike. Also, if you want to be notified right away when we put something out there, don't forget to boop the bell. And always, always, if you need a travel agent, just reach out to me, Anna@wavesandwandering.com. Leave a message in the comments below. Even if you don't book a vacation through me, I am happy to help you save money and use your money wisely. So just leave a comment or a question below and I am happy to help you.